All right, you're looking at a daily chart of the Nasdaq. And at MC Stock Charts, we've been pretty much on green for a while now. As you can see pretty clearly here, the Nasdaq made a low in October, then retested in December here. Had a nice run up in January all the way to February 2nd, then retraced 50% of that move. And now has just been in a power trend here since making that low of 10,982. And we got way bullish when it went above the 12,269 here. I want to say early in May. I don't know what day it was. I'm doing this ad lib, so I'm going to say somewhere early in May. There's 264. Okay, 216. There we go. Okay, May 10th. So ever since May 10th, what's that, a couple weeks here? So yeah, the Nasdaq is just on a roll. And we know what is driving this. And a lot of people complain that it's very narrow, driven by the FANG stocks, Meta making new highs. And it is true, but not all of them, because Tesla's really been floundering here underneath the 200. So not all those divine nine are driving it higher, but certainly Apple and Google, in clear uptrends here. Google has been a strong stock due to the artificial intelligence is a huge theme here. And part of that is NVDA, a big part of that with their earnings report last week. I just got to go over the semiconductor stocks. First, I'm going to start off with the fabulous stocks, and NVIDIA is the big kahuna. And you can see here, it's this, we noticed last October how it had these, stopped going lower, had these 4 weeks that it went up and then went sideways for a little bit, formed a little bit of a base. And AMD did the same thing. But last week just blasted higher, nearly 25% with heavy volume. So that's not Aunt Sally buying that stock. And same with AMD, another fabulous stock. This is the weekly chart. You saw that NVIDIA made a new high, but AMD is far from making a new high. And I think has, a lot more runway here. And I'm not going to predict that it's going to make a new high, but that would not surprise me. You can see it just broke out of this base. We had it a couple of times here around 88, I want to say. Yeah. And then once again, as it broke this downtrend line here, and I want to say that was about 90 area. So we had a couple of buy points on AMD. And then once again, the standard buy point here out of this cup at 102, and it's just long gone now. So a lot of people asking me, like, what do you do with this stock? Well, if it goes up 20% in, a week, you kind of apply the 8-week hold rule, right? And unless it slices the 50 simple moving average. That's what I'm doing anyway. Some people, take a third off and let the 2/3 run, or take a third off at 10%, take a third off at 20%, let a third run. But I don't see any sell signs. I don't know why you would sell that stock, but do what you want. Everybody's got a different strategy and time frame. But anyway, I got to get on to more fabulous. I'm doing the fabulous stocks, then the equipment stocks, and then the manufacturing stocks. And the fabulous stocks have been outperforming due to the artificial intelligence component. This is MRVL. We had this one on our watch list here back around 43, I believe. And you'll see this a lot, how they just pull back right before they bounce higher. It's like a person jumping. They flex their knees, they bend down to go up. And you'll see that a lot. People get shaken out. You hear people say, oh, I sold that stock. I got shaken out right before the big move. And that happened with MRVL last week there. You got to watch those shakeouts. Broadcom is another one we had on our watch list. Way back at like 630, I want to say. There was this like downtrend line at 630. I'd have to look it up. But yeah, anyway, it went higher, and then last week once again pulled back to the 10, couple of days, and just blasted higher. They have earnings this week. Looks like they already beat and raised, and somebody knows about it. It must be a blowout quarter. And then Rambus is another one that we have on our leading stock list. Obviously here in consolidation, obvious base, and then blasted out of the base here, pulled back to the 10, and then went higher with the NVIDIA report there on Thursday and Friday. So congrats to the longs there. That's all the fabulous stocks I'm going to look at. I want to take a look at some of the equipment makers. ACLS has been the biggest winner. It ramped up from 80 to 136, formed this little base here. It traded below the 50, then just ran right through it, pulled back to the 10. Like I say, they normally pull back a day or two, back to that moving average, and then just blasted higher. It's a weekly review, so let's take a look and see. Yeah, up 13.6% last week, not bad. And I'm not going to make any predictions, but I will say these things have room to run. When they have momentum like this, there's no telling how high they can go. This is Applied Materials, a weekly chart. You can see the base here. This is kind of a slower moving stock. We had it on our watch list here and our ready list. You can see the base and base pattern here, and there's your pull back to the 21 before the blast higher. So congrats to the longs at Applied Materials. Lam Research is another one here. Obvious base, move higher, pull back to the 10. Very very common theme here, and then makes that move higher. NVIDIA's report definitely move the semiconductor space. This is the big equipment maker, ASML. They have pretty much a monopoly on their equipment. A large company, nearly 300 billion. You can see this is a pronounced cup with handle. Nice shakeout below the 50. Ran back up here by the handle, pull back to the 21, and then blast higher. Those shakeouts. It's best if you just take a walk and don't look at your stocks if they're going down like that. Just kind of hang on to them. It'll serve you well. KLA. It used to be KLA 10 core. It's just KLAC. It's a equipment stock, semiconductor equipment. Another one with a real pronounced base here. Nice 3-day shakeout. 4-day looks like on light volume, and then last 2 days just heavy volume move higher. So congrats to the longs there. It's a weekly review, so I'll take a look at the weekly chart. You can see this on the weekly. That's why I always refer to the weekly charts. Real pronounced base here. In the last couple of weeks, just blasting higher, up a nice 8% last week, which we'll take 8% anytime, right? And then the week before it was up 9.5%. So nice move for KLA. All right, the last group of semiconductor stocks I'm going to look at is the manufacturing stocks, and they're not doing quite as well as the fabless or the equipment, but you can see this is Taiwan Semiconductor. They've kind of been in the news a lot. This is a real large company of 530 billion, and here once again you can see the shakeout down to the moving average, and then pop higher on the NVIDIA earnings report. Look at that. Bend down to jump higher. Anyway, that's my analogy, and I'm sticking to it. You can see it was up more than 11% last week, and we'll take 11% at any time. This is on semiconductor. You can see this kind of base on base pattern. Nice consolidation here. To me, looking at this, this has not moved out of its base yet. It still, is a possible opportunity here, 87.55. So going to keep my eye on this one. Earnings are not due till July 31st. So on semiconductor, you think, well, God, everything's popped out and this one's kind of a laggard. It hasn't moved, but give it time. This one certainly is a laggard. STM sliced its 50 and now just kind of floundering down here. Tough stock to own there. It did have on the weekly nice cup, with a shakeout, and just it's not moving anywhere. So that's definitely a laggard. Texas Instruments, another larger equipment, manufacturing stock, semiconductor, and you can see the base on base pattern here, and it's just lagging the other stocks. And the last one I'm going to get to is Intel, which is poster child for laggards. AMD kind of eating their lunch here, and wow, they do pay a 1.7% dividend. I guess that's the best thing I could say about it. Anyway, let's go to the stocks that are moving, and this is SMCI. I think Greg Morton, our friend, pointed this out. This was kind of a stair stepper stock. It'd have a base and then step up, and then base and then step up, and then base and step up, and then base. And now it's just gone parabolic. We had this on our watch list, I want to say in April at some point, around 90, and this thing has just taken off. 220, up 33% last week, and that's on top of a week prior where it was up 22%. So you're up 22%, 33%. Those are big weeks, and that's a big winner. So congrats to the longs at Supercomputer. That's our number one stock at MC Stock Charts. And another top 5 stock is ELF, which is another one that's kind of just goes sideways, and then breaks out here. sideways, steps up, sideways, steps up, sideways. And now last week it had a strong earnings report and was up more than 12% on the week. You want to take a look at the daily, this I think it's going to have a little problem with 100 there, but once it gets through there, great growth profile here. The accelerating sales growth, accelerating earnings growth. That's what a growth investor really wants to see. So ELF has everything I'm looking for in a stock. Yeah, I know it's overvalued and it needs to grow into it and blah, 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 but I'm going to hang on to that one. This is Palo Alto Networks, and this has been a leader in the cybersecurity space. This one in CrowdStrike, really showing strength here. You can see that it traded below the 50 here recently. I took it off our list and got to put it back on because it slammed right through there, up 12%. This is another stock with a great growth profile, 83% earnings growth, accelerating, the last 3 quarters, and strong sales growth as well, over 20%. So this one is set up near a buy point, if you're into that kind of thing. I'm not recommending that you buy it, but there it is for you there, 213. So it's trading right near there. I did mention CrowdStrike. This was on our watch list recently. I liked it above the 200 there. Once it crossed above the 200 right there, about 140, and now it's at 154. So that's a nice move. 10% gainer, and they have earnings coming up this week. I believe it's Wednesday or Thursday. So good luck to the CrowdStrike longs. Bentley Systems, not a stock that I talk about, but I'm sucker for new highs. This one's making new highs. Doesn't have the growth profile that I like, but like I say, I'm a sucker for new highs. So this one's making new highs, showing strength, and it's been up for the last 4 or 5 weeks. So Bentley Systems, definitely one to watch. COCO, I'm just going through the random stocks here. COCO is a beverages, non-alcoholic. I put them in my protein drinks. This one, they had a secondary offering. They pulled back to the 50, and man, that thing, gobbled right up. What an opportunity. Big sell-off here below the 50, closed near the high of the end of the daily range. I think this is Monday. 87 percentile, and just went up higher and made new highs. So congrats to the longs there. The restaurant stocks are doing well. Darden, the Olive Garden, and this is Chipotle. We see this a lot here. You saw this in SMCI. We're seeing this in quite a few stocks where they gap up and they form this shelf, pull back to the 10 and then rip higher. I'm seeing this was the IMGN is another one, kind of a high tide flag here, pull back to the 10. I expect that one to go higher. And the last one I'm going to show is Hubs. And this one is just making new highs after earnings. You can see this nice cup with handle, very pronounced cup with handle, and just breaking higher. Heavy volume move there, and just continues to make new highs. Just a trend. If you're a trend trader, you got to love that trend. Anyway, that's it for this week. Thanks for watching. We never give up.